Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
This the monster from the swamps, Regis Rougarou Program.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF world champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 276 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman. I'm joined as ever by good friend of mine, former heavyweight world title challenger himself, Mr. Fast Eddie Chambers. Eddie, this is the 12th show in a row that we've done. It's the longest streak that we've done together. But first and foremost, man, how are you? And thanks for coming on again.
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just working as always, man. Trying to stay in shape, but always good, man. How you?
Very well, man. Very well, thank you. And this show will be pretty straightforward. We're going to get everything out of the way in terms of the review and preview and the news, and then the show pretty much is going to end with an in-depth interview with the former two-time heavyweight world champion Chris Byrd, a man who's on a mission to make a comeback at age 50 with goals in his mind to become a free. He wants to win a world title at 3 further weights. He wants to come back at middleweight, win a world title there, come back at super middle after that, and then light heavyweight and win world titles at all 3 of those weights. And of course, even if he picks up 1 world title, he'll break the world record set by Bernard Hopkins a few years back, being the oldest world champion. Anyway, before we get onto that, like I said, we're going to do the talking here. Let's start with the review part. This one, it's really the only event to mention. It took place at the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut, USA. On the undercard, Rolando Romero with another win. He's 13-0 now. A win for him against Avery Sparrow. He's always seeming to impress, Romero. Very much a guy that if you don't have your eye on already, you certainly should have your eye on him. Also on the card we saw Vic Pasilias. He was 16-0. He got in there with Reese Aleem, who was 17-0. Pasilias was down in the 2nd, the 6th, the 9th and the 11th round. So 4 times he was on the canvas, and that was the final time in that 11th round there. Aleem was really good, man. For me, I was quite impressed with him. Haven't seen him before prior to that one there, but just the fact that he kept coming on, he kept just, trying to come up with ways to hurt his man again, because he threw everything at the guy, and he was very, very tough, Pasilias. Like I say, undefeated going in. But anyway, he came off second best. Good win there for Aleem. Joe Arroyo on the undercard as well. He lost unanimously over 8 rounds to Sharon Carter. A bit of an upset there going on. And the main event, Angelo Leo, he was on last week's show. He was defeated. He lost his WBO Super Bantamweight World Championship to Stephen Fulton. Angelo Leo as well loses his undefeated record. He's now 20-1. A unanimous decision over 12 rounds for Stephen Fulton, now 19-0, and the way he won the fight was very, very impressive. I'm gonna go through these 12 rounds myself before I come to you, Eddie. Round 1, that was where Angelo Leo actually got cut on the left eye in that very first round. I think it was an accidental head clash. Fulton, he looked extremely sharp. He was really aggressive from the get-go. And as well, he was coming off his career longest layoff. I think it was around about a year. He had a fantastic jab as well, Fulton. Bit of a slow start from Angelo Leo. Round 2, another round for Fulton. Closer, I felt, in the second round. The whole fight, though, at that point could have been fought in a phone booth. I mean, it was very much on the inside, very much up close. Angelo Leo's cut man was doing a good job with the cut as well. Both men were landing effective shots to the other man's body. Round 3, good round again for Fulton. He was smart with his work. He was tying Leo up on the inside. He was boxing nicely at mid-range, and when in mid-range, Leo was a little bit lost at sea. he was looking a little bit one-dimensional, which I hate to say, Angelo Leo. Round 4, we saw a lot of dog from both guys. Fulton looked a little bit uncomfortable at times for the first time in the fight. I think I might have edged that round to Angelo Leo. Nothing was stopping him from coming forward, really. Fulton started to hold more and more when Leo was getting in on the inside, and Fulton didn't like those famous Angelo Leo body shots. Round 5, close round. Fulton showed more areas of his game. He was able to turn Leo on the ropes and start leaning on him. He was able to land some great body shots in that round as well, as was Angelo Leo. It was a close round, but I edged it to Fulton. Round 6, great round again for Fulton. Leo was still undetermined at this point, but Fulton had a wider arsenal, brighter ideas, a great display of experience as well. You know, leaning on his man, getting off a flashy combination, then tying Leo up for a brief time to grab that 3-second breather, but not long enough really for the referee to intervene. He was smothering the work of Angelo Leo. Round 7, a close round, but another one I gave to Fulton. Angelo Leo was starting to really breathe hard in the corner at the end of the rounds at this point, and many before, to be honest. So another one for Fulton. Round 8, another round I gave to Fulton. I felt like he controlled everything there. Round 9, another round for Fulton. He must have landed about 12 unanswered jabs at one point from long range. They were all sharp and snappy. Leo just couldn't get past that jab, and honestly, Fulton, like I said, just really impressed me, showed so much here. Round 10, Fulton, for me, got that round as well. Angelo Leo's dad was saying to Angelo at the end of that 10th round that they need a knockout, and he was right. Round 11, Fulton, for me, took that round as well. It didn't even look like it was taking much out of him, to be honest. Fulton looked, he didn't look tired. Let's just put it that way. And like I said, coming off the layoff and all the rest of it, I was thoroughly impressed. I can't speak more highly of his performance. He looked amazing. And round 12, another round for Fulton. If anything, he probably fought Leo's fight for the entire 36 minutes when you really look back. And he still won on my card 11 of those 12 rounds. So I was just blown away. Eddie, of course, you've known Stephen Fulton for a long time. Nowadays he's called Cool Boy Steph, but back when you knew him, he was Scooter. Tell us about, obviously, what he was like perhaps back in the day briefly, and of course his performance was so impressive. To dominate an undefeated world champion like that was amazing. Well,
he was always a young, always young, you know what I mean? He was a little kid when I came up, more like around the age of like 13, 14, but probably even earlier, because I was up there. I've been in Philly for maybe over 13, 14 years now. Well, not a Philly, but just in general in the area, the tri-state area, maybe 15 years now. So, I mean, he was a kid when I first met him in a gym called Shepherd's, and he was like a young kid running around playing in the gym, just like other kids did, like I did when I was young too. And always a good kid though. Not, we obviously, it wasn't in the best of situations when you're young, you know what I mean, in those hood areas, quote unquote. But always was in the gym, always training, with his trainers. And he was one of I forget the guy's name, and he was always training with him. And I remember he always had a good group of young kids that were good fighters. And I remember they came from Shepherd's, and then we all came into Schuler's. And into Schuler's when he came to Schuler's is when he started to become like a really, really good amateur. You know what I mean? Like he started to really do well in amateur fights. I don't know about his national experience as much, because I mean we didn't really, pay that much attention because we were too busy with our own things. We didn't really go, but I just know he was a really, really good amateur. He did well in the gym, trained hard. You know what I mean? But he's a kid, so he was around playing. It was not so a little after that I really started to see him get serious once he got with this other guy, Hamza. He started really focusing on his craft, and he started to obviously get a little older. You're a kid, you're just in the gym a lot of times because your friends are not just because your friends are, but you're in there with your friends, you're having fun, you're training, you're sparring, you're doing those things, but you're not as serious as you need to be. It's not when you start seeing your school coming to an end and things start to get real. You start thinking about what you got to do as far as, hey, am I going to get a job, or am I going to be a full-time fighter? And you can see that he made that decision and really started to pick up the pace. And when he turned pro, progressively got better, and look at him now, heavyweight, junior featherweight champ of the world, and the only one from Philly. So it's a good situation. I mean, the way he looked, and normally his style is mid to long range boxing, moving, sharp, but with his talent and all around game that he has capabilities of doing inside fighting, and he proved that he beat this guy at his own game. I got to give a lot of credit to this kid, and I just hope that he continues to get better and he continues to win. All the way through. Hopefully, he said he wants to unify, so that's a breath of fresh air. A lot of young guys, aren't really talking about those things. They're trying to make as much money as they can, and that shows the love for the game. And it's respect. I want to see him do well and continue to ascend to the top.
Yeah, well said, Eddie. Very impressive from Fulton. Hopefully we can get him on the show at some point. But yeah, that's it for the review part. Just one event there to mention. Moving on now to the news part of the show. One fight that got announced on Friday last week. Sarisaket Rungvisai, also known as... I always forget his other name now. Oh gosh. What's his other name, man? Rungvisai... anyway, forget it. Anyway, he's back. He's the guy. I've said it before. He stopped Chocolatito some years back. I think back to back he stopped him. And he loves to. I've said it before. It's been a bit of a running joke. He loves to eat rodents back home in Thailand. Oh. But anyway, he is back in the ring. 49-5 with a draw. 42 KOs. He gets in there with a guy who, and forgive me, I am not too familiar with this guy. The guy's name is Kwantai Sifmoseng, a.k.a. Egawit Songnui. So, okay. That's, it could be good. His record's 50-7 with a draw, but apologies because I'm a little bit behind on the knowledge at those lower weights. Martin Bacoli has signed an advisory deal with MTK Global. Interesting stuff for him. He's still a good fighter, man. There's a lot of good fights for him there at heavyweight. The female fight has been announced. The rematch: Jessica McCaskill, the inspirational, undisputed welterweight world champion. We had her on the show. She is such a positive person, such a amazing person, such an amazing inspiration. She has the immediate rematch with Cecilia Brackhouse, that one to take place on March 13th on the undercard of Estrada and Chocolatito. That's on DAZN. What else do we have? We have a brilliant domestic fight over here in the UK. It's going to be on the undercard of Povetkin White 2. We get to see the undefeated Chris Congo defend his WBO global welterweight title. We don't care about that, but the man he gets in the ring with, Michael McKinson. He's been on the show before. Friend of the show, Michael McKinson. He's been crying out for a big fight for a long time. I am so excited for that one. That's going to be amazing there. Also, we have the little Mexican destroyer, Julio Cesar Martinez. He defends his WBC flyweight world title against his mandatory challenger, McWilliams Arroyo. That's going to be taking place on the Canelo Yildirim undercard on February 27th. And finally, the final piece of news to mention. If anything else develops from now till the end of the show, I'll speak about it at the very end. But this is the final piece of news for now. Virgil Ortiz Jr., the man with the 100% knockout ratio, he steps up, and it is a big step up. March 20th is the date on DAZN. He takes on former 140 world champion Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker. That's going to be a brilliant fight there at 147. That's it though for the news. Moving on now to the preview part, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This one takes place at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, USA. You know who's promoting this card, Eddie, I'm sure?
Hollywood, Florida? Yeah. I'm guessing. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it and be wrong. This is what always happens.
Go on.
When we do the other.
Go on, man.
No. I'm not guessing. It's only you, Joe.
Right,
I'm listening.
All right, okay. So he's back. He's back promoting a card in Florida. It is, of course, the man who promoted the man we'll be speaking to soon. Don King Promotions back.
Oh my
He's
God.
back. Don King Productions. This will be Friday the 29th, so tomorrow. Originally, this is crazy. Originally, Manuel Char was supposed to be defending his WBA heavyweight world title. 31-4 is Manuel Char these days. He was supposed to be taking on the undefeated Trevor Bryan. However, Frezequendo decided to start coming with threatening legal action and lawsuits and the rest of it. And something happened. I'm not quite sure what it was, but when Frezequendo found out that this event was supposedly taking place, he went ballistic. And I think he's managed to win or something, because now the card has had a bit of a change. Manuel Char isn't on the card, and he's not defending his title. So a man from the undercard has stepped up to the main event to take on Trevor Bryan over 12 rounds in a non-title bout, and that man is the former WBC heavyweight world champion Bermane Stiverne. 25-4 with a draw, gets in against Trevor Bryan. All the best there to Bermane Stiverne. He is a friend of the show. We spoke to him during the pandemic. Not much really going on that undercard. And the final card, in fact, no, not the final card. I think there's a card taking place in Australia. Let me just double check that. Yes, there is. This one takes place in Australia. Friend of the show. It's happening at the Entertainment Centre in New South Wales. Former IBF, I want to say featherweight world champion, I think he was. Yeah. Billy Dibb, 46-6. He gets in there with... Is this right? He gets in there with a debutant. That's interesting. Okay.
What?
Yeah. That is bizarre matchmaking down under. He gets in there with a guy called Joey Balin, who apparently is a pro kickboxer. Okay.
Oh, I see why.
Okay, now it makes a bit of, well, not much sense, but a bit of sense. All the best to Billy Dibb, friend of the show. Very, very, very good guy. I really like Billy Dibb. Got a lot of time for him. And the final card to mention, it takes place at the Shrine Exposition Center in Los Angeles, California. It's a fight that I'm quite looking forward to be honest with you. It is Caleb versus Caleb. Caleb Plant, 20-0, defending his IBF World Super Middleweight title against former holder of the same belt, Caleb Truax, 31-4 with 2 draws. All the best to both men there. Caleb Plant has been on the show in the past once or twice, and Caleb Truax has been on quite a few times, to be honest. So, and he was on a couple of weeks ago as well. So, best of luck to both guys there, man. May the best man win. And there is a couple of fights on the undercard that I should mention while we're here. Rances Barthélemy, 27-1 with a draw, takes on Ali Rivera over 10 rounds. Rivera now 21-4. And this one as well, a heavyweight clash between two undefeated prospects. Michael Polite Coffey, 11-0 in a 10-rounder against Damani Rock, 17-0. Did you want to have a say on that, Eddie? Because I noticed that someone on your Twitter posted saying it's going to be a good fight. I don't know if it was you.
Well, yeah, it's because Damani, I know Damani Rock. He's talented, really, really talented heavyweight, but a lot is going on in his life. Who knows what's going on? I haven't really heard much from him. Really was, pretty cool with his dad and, sparred with him several times. He's really talented and big, too. He's about 6'5" or 6'6" and can box like a little guy. So I expected, I expect big things from him. I actually thought he was going to make the Olympic team, but it just didn't happen. Some things happened with him. That's why he turned pro. But he's really talented. He can box, punch pretty good. He's got a good future if he can obviously leave the streets alone and get really, really serious and be a full-time fighter. Obviously he's a full-time fighter, 17-0. But really focus and stay out the craziness out there. He should be fine. But I mean, look, talent is a common thing. People waste it every day. So, if he doesn't materialize, it's not that it would be a surprise. It would be a sad thing though. It'd be a very, very tragic situation into his to a promising career.
Yeah, we shall see. Both men colliding, both men 6'5", and they have those undefeated records intact. Most of the time they get the KO win. It always adds value to any undercard. When you see two undefeated heavyweight prospects, you know that you can't blink because someone could go that quickly. It always adds value. It doesn't even matter if the guys have big names or they're well known. You just pay attention. Someone's going to lose for the first time, and I'm really looking forward to that, even though I can't say I've seen much of either guy, but I'm going to definitely find a way to watch it over here. But anyway, that's it for the review part. That's it for the news. That's it for the preview part. There is no knockdown this week because the Chris Byrd interview is around about 1 hour and 50 something minutes. So it's very, very in depth. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're gonna bring that in just a few seconds, but before that, Eddie, thanks once again for sticking with me, and we will be back with the knockdown segment. If it's not next week, it'll probably be the week after, and I'm looking forward to that again when you speak about coming over here to the UK.
Yes, sir. Me too. I'm looking forward to reliving those great moments, and we're just gonna get it done, man.
Absolutely. Okay, that is all the talking from us. It's now time for the former two-time heavyweight world champion to make his appearance when we welcome our sole guest on this week's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former two-time heavyweight world champion. It is, of course, Mr. Chris Byrd. Chris, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, Chris. I truly do. So, Chris, with these types of interviews, I like to start pretty much with the earliest boxing memory that you can remember. How did you get into it in the start? Obviously, your whole family. There's such a rich boxing history.
Oh, my earliest memory is boxing. I started boxing when I was, 5 years old. My father had me in the gym, had all those boys. It's 5 boys, 3 girls. So I've been in the gym since I was a little boy, always boxed. I wasn't that good when I was young either. I was always in the gym, just with my brothers and my parents. We were always go to the gym. I got better a lot later. So my earliest memories is just boxing and my mother and father putting on boxing shows, clinics, anything that pertained to boxing. My parents did it, especially on the amateur level. They put on shows. They did everything. So I just was raised in a rich boxing tradition. That whole era history is all boxing.
Okay.
So that's how it was for me growing up.
Okay, not like the rest of us. Obviously, Chris, you boxed as an amateur. Am I right in saying that you had your first amateur fight at just 10 years of age and finished up in the end having somewhere around about 300 amateur fights in total?
Yes. I started boxing officially at 10, but I was doing exhibitions from 5 to 10 everywhere. Me and my brother Patrick was a sideshow, literally a sideshow at boxing shows. We would put on an exhibition and turn the place out. Everybody would just go crazy after we would just go at it. So I boxed the whole time, and then when I turned 10, when I could officially start boxing, that's when it really just tournaments every weekend. It's a boxing show or a tournament. My father would take us everywhere. He would drive a bunch of kids everywhere. He wanted us to just know different styles of boxing and not be complacent of being good in your area. So it was just, like I said, boxing. That's all I know. That's all I know is boxing.
And of course, you went to the Olympics in 1992. Making it to the Olympics is obviously the dream for all amateur boxers. Tell us about your experience there in 1992 in Barcelona, where of course you ended up taking home the silver. It
was incredible. It was the dream. Literally, from the time I was 6 years old, I met Sugar Ray Leonard when I was 6 years old. Got a picture, still have the picture. Me and my brothers and a few guys from my gym. So he has an Olympic medal, this 1976, Olympic medal, sweatsuit. My father invited him to a boxing show in our hometown. So The Olympics was everything. That's all I thought about. I didn't think about pro. I didn't know what was going to happen after. I just wanted to make the Olympics, and then I finally make it. And to win a medal in something that you dream about going to, it topped it off. I mean, it was the best experience over my pro career. Even winning 2 heavyweight titles, winning a silver medal in Olympics was the biggest, achievement I think in my whole career. Really.
Wow.
Because that's what I just really wanted it.
Sorry to cut you off, Chris. If you was going to say more, you're welcome to.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that was just a big achievement in my career, like one of the biggest.
Yeah, because that answers my next question. Because my next question was going to be, what was your highlight moment of the amateurs? But you've answered it there. Who would you say, Chris?
Oh.
Sorry, go on.
No. I'm just saying. Oh yeah. I get excited, man. I'm hyped. I've got energy. I feel great, and I just love talking. I just love talking boxing.
We're gonna get along like a house on fire, my friend. How was who was the best amateur boxer you feel like you probably ever fought in the amateurs?
Man, it was so many. The finals of the Olympics, the Cuban, he was really good, but he was tactical, more of running. I think it was many guys. One guy is Paul Vaden, a former world champion, and another guy is Sven Ike from Germany. He was really good. Like Sven Ike he was a good pro, but he was a good amateur. We fought very tactical. I remember the fight, so he was really good. So I fought some pretty good guys in amateur. Alexander Lovziak, he was really good. I fought twice in amateur standout. I just mentioned 2 world champions, Paul Vaden and Sven Ike. And other guys. Joe Calzaghe said he fought me in amateur, but I never fought Joe Calzaghe. I never fought him.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, wait.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he never fought me.
But getting on to your pro career, Chris, the journey began, of course, on January 28th, 1993, which is, 28 years in 2 days' time, my friend. That is crazy.
Yes.
You boxed Gary Smith in Flint, Michigan. Not only yourself, but your 2 brothers, Patrick and Tim, both made their debuts that night on the same card. You were the only brother that didn't win by knockout. Tell us what you remember about that night.
Man, I fought a guy, he had a few fights. I think he had over 10 fights. A 6-rounder. It was lackluster. All I was thinking was I'm fighting 2 amateur fights in 1 fight. 6 rounds, my first fight. Because amateur is 3 minutes, 3 rounds, 3 minutes. This is 6 rounds, 3 minutes. I was going crazy. I'm like, I was in shape, but it was nerve-wracking because I was going 6 rounds. 1, 2, it wasn't the fight I really wanted. I didn't get signed after the Olympics. I didn't get signed by no promotional company. Not even promoters in my own state wanted me. I won a silver medal in the Olympics and didn't get anything for it. Didn't get paid my first fight. Nobody came to the fight. I fight Gary Smith, who was probably 10 or 11 pounds smaller than me. I go a lackluster 6 rounds, and then afterwards I'm thinking, well, at least I'm getting paid. And then nobody get paid. Nobody even show up to the fight. That's how my first pro fight was. I won an Olympic silver medal.
Wow.
My second fight the same way. Same thing happened. So, I fought at super middleweight at that time. I didn't cut weight or anything. So out of depression, I was cutting grass with my brother Joe because I had nothing at the time. I said, I'm going to go to heavyweight. If they don't want me at this weight, I'm going to go to heavyweight. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any money. I didn't have nothing. No promoters. Nobody wanted me. 3 months after the Olympics, I was forgotten about. Nobody talked about me, nothing. So it was a struggle. And then after my first 2 fights, because the first fight was a promoter from Las Vegas that really came in. The promotion went horrific. No, like I said, nobody got paid. Nobody came to the fight. Second fight I had, and 3 months later, we hooked up with a guy that was just helping us out with training, like lifting weights and stuff at a Gold's Gym. He said, I can put a show on for you. Same thing happened. Nobody get paid. Nobody show up. So I had 2 fights where I didn't get paid. Nobody showed up. I have no contract with nobody. I'm just sitting there with nothing. So my brother, I was helping him cut grass in the summer. So I'm cutting grass with him, and this thought came across me. Man, go to heavyweight. Shock the world. Nobody wants you at this weight. Go to heavyweight. I didn't even know how I was going to fight. So I started borrowing money, drinking protein shakes, not knowing what I was doing. Started adding weight, getting fat. This story is unreal, what my brother did. My brother was passing out flyers. He was begging for money. That's what he wanted. He asked me to go out with him. I made some flyers. Let's ask some of these businesses for money. And I asked him, what's the money for? I mean, what, just so we can live? And I was too embarrassed to go with him. So I said, no, I'm not going to go. He went out, passing out flyers, asking for money, ran across a guy that owned a laminating business. He said, I don't have much money, but I have a venue. He had a little 250-seat nightclub. That was the venue. My father, he put on shows, so him and Dave Osage was the man that saved our life. He was the promoter. He owned a lemonade business. He know nothing about boxing. He hooked up with my father, and we put on our first show in the nightclub probably 3 months after they hooked up.
Wow, that's incredible.
Knockout promotion is in effect. I'm fighting at a nightclub, making $600. Now I'm fighting at heavyweight. Scared to death. I'm scared. I'm like, I never fought this weight class before. I'm going crazy. But you got to do what you got to do. I had nothing. So I stayed at heavyweight. So I kept fighting there. I should be fighting at middleweight, but I'm fighting at heavyweight. And then the era changed. Everybody's getting bigger. Klitschko era come. I'm the little guy fighting all the big guys now.
That is incredible.
So I stayed there, and I won 2 world titles. I never wanted to fight at heavyweight. I just didn't get signed after the Olympics, so I had this crazy idea. I'm going to heavyweight. So now I'm coming back now to get what's really mine. When I was fighting at heavyweight, all I watched was middleweight. I watched Roy Jones do his thing. I watched James Toney. I watched Bernard Hopkins. I watched all these guys winning all these world titles where I should have been winning the world title. Same thing, but I didn't get signed. And they're lucky I wasn't in the mix with them because I'm telling you right now, not one of them beat me. They won't beat me.
Okay.
I'm the best. And I'm coming back now to claim that I'm the best. So that's how I see it.
We will get to that in due time, Chris. The comeback, of course.
Let's get it.
I want to jump forward now. We were at your pro debut there. Your decision to move to heavyweight, which was a bizarre one, and it was crazy. There's a brilliant backstory, which I appreciate you sharing. If we jump forward now to May 23rd, 1995, you boxed in Michigan. At the time, you're 10-0. You take a step-up fight against former world title challenger Arthur Williams. Tell us about that night.
Woo!
That was a crazy one. You're down in the first. You managed to win a split decision over 10.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, this is my 11th fight. Arthur Williams basically just lost his cruiserweight title. And this is so-called a heavyweight. And I'm not really a cruiserweight or a heavyweight. I was so, oh my goodness. In that fight, I'm thinking, what the heck are you doing, Chris? This is out of your range. You're fighting guys that you would never even spar with. Never. And now I'm fighting Arthur Williams, a former world champion, in my 11th fight. That was tough. I mean, I went a tough route from that fight all the way through. I started fighting guys that just lost a world title or was formerly rated in the top 10. You know, you fight guys like that. And Arthur Williams was very smart, crafty, and he could punch. Like, he has a great right hand. And in that first round, I felt it. And it's funny, I still remember what happened when I got knocked down at the end of the first round. I went to the corner. When I sat in the corner, I thought a train was going by. I kept hearing a train go by. I got hit so hard, I kept looking right by me in the corner like a train kept going. I think he hit me that hard that I felt like I'm at a train station. It was a tough fight, man. It was tough all the way down to the wire. I went a split decision, and that propelled me in the mind to say, man, you can hang with these big guys. And he wasn't even a big guy, but you can hang at this level, at least at this level. And then the guys started getting bigger and bigger. I mean, it's the heavyweight division.
Absolutely. And again, if we jump forward now to August 6th of 1996, you boxed in Flint, Michigan against former two-time world title challenger Uriah Grant. He, of course, went on a year later after losing to you. He went on to win a cruiserweight world title. In your fight with him, you completely shut him out over 10 rounds. At that time, that's probably your most impressive win at that time. What do you remember of that night there? Brilliant clinic performance.
Yeah, but man, my goodness, was he strong. Yeah. Goodness, he could punch. He weighed 199 pounds. He punched so hard. I think he was 24-11 with 23 knockouts. He could punch, and he just stayed on me the whole fight. I had to slip off the ropes, making Miz do all kind of stuff. He was just a former cruiserweight champion at the time, and then he wins a cruiserweight title again. The experience from all these fights, it propelled me. When I won a world title, I was ready for everybody because I knew it would be really hard. And a lot of these guys were strong and very tactical. So you learn from every experience and just try to win.
And again, if we jump ahead again to when you're 25-0, July 14th, 1998, in Mississippi, you took on Ross Purity. Now, Purity was a guy who, if he was on his A game, he was a problem for pretty much everyone. You managed, again, to completely shut him out over 10 rounds. Only 5 months later, he'd go on to shock the world and knock out Wladimir Klitschko. Tell me about the night, though, that you remember, sharing the ring with Ross the Boss.
Ross, oh man, former football player at UTEP, big guy. I mean, huge guy, and everybody expected me to dominate him. He's huge, and I'm not stupid. I see the guys he fought. Like, he knocked down Tommy Morrison twice, and fought him to a draw. I know what kind of power he has. He stopped Wladimir Klitschko also, so he has power, and he could take punches also. I'm not a big puncher. My thing was just box, make him think the whole time. Keep him off balance the whole fight. Use all my boxing skills to keep you off balance so he don't get into a mode where he just rush me all the time and pin me on the ropes, which he didn't. A lot of that fight, I was walking him down because of my style. Then he'd start rushing me, and I'm like, oh, okay, here comes a football player. But in those type of fights, I have a lot of fun because really Ross Purity, I mean, I understand boxing. He's a football player. He started boxing late. He's a big, strong guy. It's heavyweight. Anything can happen. But I've been boxing since I was little. I don't let guys like that beat me and, like, overpower me. I'm very smart and tactical in what I do, and I understand, what's happening. So at that time, I wasn't taking any chances. It was my last USA Tuesday night fight that I fought. So I was on my way to fight on HBO. So I had to win the fight, try to do it impressively. But against a guy like that, you can't. Myself, I couldn't be impressive. Try to get in there and knock him out. I weighed like 211 pounds. He weighed 247. All muscle. I wasn't trying to. I just wanted to outbox him. I think the announcers kind of criticized me a little bit, wanted me to step it up, but I wasn't taking any chances. He's too strong.
Yeah,
I just wasn't.
No, that was a brilliant win again, and that would be as far as your unbeaten run would go. Though March 20th, 1999, you taste defeat for the first time as a pro. Your new record would be 26-1. Tell us about the night you boxed Ike Ibeabuchi. I must say, I still think the stoppage was a little bit strange.
Yeah, I mean it was last second, but when you're in the midst, like the referee, I look at the referee. When you're in in the heat of something, and he's looking at a fight where, look how big Ike is, look how small I was. And when I got knocked down, I fell on my face. I got up, and I know the referee was thinking, okay, man, I think I'm going to stop the fight, but I'm going to give him a chance. So he gave me a chance, and that happened. That fight was just it was difficult all the way around. I prior to that fight, I had a major separated rib. I never told anybody. I told my family knew, and my lawyer John Honower, he knew, but nobody else knew. Like I would never say anything. I'll fight regardless. And at that time, none of the top young heavyweights wanted to fight me. None of the heavyweights, like the world champions, nobody wanted to fight me. I couldn't get any fights. Ike finally agreed to fight me. So I was so excited. I'm going crazy. Training was good. 15 days before the fight, my brother Joe cracked my rib on my left side, and from then on, I couldn't do anything. I didn't want any shots with any kind of steroids in it or anything, because they would say if I did test positive, see, he was on drugs. I never took drugs a day in my life. And before a fight, I have no excuses. None. This is not an excuse. I'm real. This is what happened. But it did throw me off. I'm fighting Ike Ibeabuchi with a separated rib. He weighed 244 pounds all muscle. The thought was, man, if I get hit in the rib, he's gonna kill me. So I did have something else on my mind. You know, of course that was gonna be on your mind the whole fight, but you know, I still was doing my thing. I just got caught with a punch. You know, I just got caught, and it's heavyweight boxing. I was devastated after the fight, though. I got to tell you that. I was devastated.
Yeah.
But I had to get it back. Mm-hmm.
And Chris, how good do you think Ike really could have been if he wasn't such a crazy character outside of the ring, man?
Who knows? I always say when the Klitschko era came, you got to go through Wladimir Vitali. I mean, it is just how it is. And will he be able to break down Wladimir? Vitali and Vitali also, we don't know. You know, all these big guys came in, a lot of big heavyweights. In the 90s was heavyweight. We used to have heavyweight explosion, all heavyweight shows everywhere, especially with Cedric Kushner. And, you know, who knows? He beat David Tua. He beat me. But, you know, I think he probably would have, I wouldn't say dominant, because there was a lot of good guys that just in the 90s, all these big guys coming up. I think he would have had his place as a heavyweight, but who knows?
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Obviously, after that loss to Ibeabuchi, you come back. You closed out 1999 with 3 knockout wins. Those wins came against John Sargent, Jose Ribalta, and Val Smith. You also grabbed another knockout win in early 2000 over David Washington. That's when we arrive at April the 1st, 2000. You had to travel to Germany. You boxed Vitali Klitschko for his WBO heavyweight world title. You win the fight when Vitali retires on his stool in the corner after, of course, being ahead almost by a shutout on all 3 judges' scorecards. Vitali, tell me all about that night from your perspective, Chris, because another thing that some people forget, you had 10 days notice for that fight, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, 10 days notice. And in a fight, I give, you know, Vitali Klitschko a lot of credit just for he took me on 10 days notice. Guys didn't want to fight me. My style was difficult. But they just signed Vitali Klitschko with HBO. So the commentating and everything, of course, Klitschko, I'm losing every fight. But if you were in the building that night, you wouldn't think that. It was totally different. Totally different. The commentating make you think one way. But if you're in the building that night, everybody knew this may be an upset. How would they know it'd be an upset if I'm not in the fight, if I'm getting blown out? Everybody knew it. The energy was crazy. And when he quit after the 4th round, they were cheering my name, Chris Byrd, going crazy. It was amazing.
And sorry, Chris.
The end of the 9th round, I finished really strong. Really strong. I'm coming on. Who quit? If I think I'm winning, I don't care if I got broke legs. I'm not quitting. I fought shoulder injury, broke nose first round, got my nose broke by Levi Phillips. I ain't quit because I knew I'll be losing something, my undefeated record. Why would you quit? Really? Danny Williams fought one arm, the will to win. So I looked at that fight. Yes, I may have been losing on the so-called scorecards or whatever, but I was in the fight. The biggest question to ask is, how did I get to the 10th round? He was 27-0 with 27 knockouts, and he's fighting the smallest heavyweight in the heavyweight division. Mm. And to criticize me for him throwing his shoulder out, I get criticized. I'm like, well, what? Well, you were losing. He was beating you with this, and he throws his shoulder out. But how? I don't get no credit for my defense? We don't. I don't. You never see a stat of, well, I made him miss 19 times in a row. Where's the stat for that? So that's how that went. I was so excited. If you really know about that fight of how did I get to the 10th round, why would you quit with a shoulder injury when you're a champion, when you're winning? Really? This is boxing. I've been boxing when I was a kid. You don't do that. That's a no-no. You win and you fight to the end. That's how I was raised. Look at my fight with his brother. Same way. The first fight, he beat the hell out of me. I didn't quit. I went 12 rounds. I could have quit. 2 times my father could have stopped that fight. So that's how I look at boxing in that situation. I'm not saying, he is a coward, he quit, he did this, but for me, if I'm champion, I'm not quitting. I'm not.
Yeah, I think it speaks for itself when you said that you went into that fight with Ike with the rib injury. That speaks for itself. It doesn't obviously matter how you win, just that you win. And you won that fight, you became champion. People obviously started criticizing Vitali as well, saying he had no heart, etc. Chris, how did you kind of feel? Obviously, there's better ways to win a world title, I think it's fair to say. If you knock someone out in the first round, it looks amazing. To win a world title in that way, did you feel, did you still get to have that moment where you felt amazing, where you felt like this is the best day on earth for you?
No, not at all.
That's sad.
Not at all, because you're world champion, but it's got an asterisk next to it. And you're getting criticized for somebody quitting, and they were winning, and now you're champion. So I felt, honestly, I didn't feel like a champion. I felt like that was like a bad moment in my life to win like that. Then you have to walk around as champion, but everybody look at you like you're really not champion. Like you didn't win this. He quit because of an injury. So it was rough because I had to go back to Germany to fight Wladimir Klitschko and not feeling like a champion. Not at all. I mean, I felt like I was going back so they can get their revenge. Because if he would have beat me, would he have fought his brother next? He was mandatory to me. How did that happen? So, felt very disrespected. I'm world champion, but I feel like I'm on the B side. So, you got to go do what you got to do. I didn't want to fight Wladimir right then. I wanted to have an easier fight. Then I'll fight Wladimir. Maybe a couple fights down the road when I get a couple of fights, but they wanted that title back, and they got it. I had no control, nothing. I had no say-so. Wladimir fought 2 times while I sat. He fought twice, and he had an exhibition 4 weeks before our fight. And they told me I couldn't do anything. but he had an exhibition in front of a crowd, everything, like it was a show.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that.
And he had a major exhibition before that. They made sure he wouldn't lose. Because if Wladimir would have lost at that time, you would have never heard of the Klitschko brothers.
Okay.
They would have been done. The smallest guy in the division beat both giants? How'd that look? How you going to promote that?
Yeah, they'd have the promoters would have their work cut out if that did happen.
Yeah.
You say you're right in what you say, Chris, when you say there was this asterisk attached. Undeserving, perhaps lucky, people would label you as, and you touched on it there. 6 months later, you had to travel once again back to Germany, like the B-side, and you boxed Wladimir. Obviously, you were down in the 9th, you were down in the 11th. You bravely got back up. You got to hear the final bell. I know you touched on it briefly, but just tell us about that first fight with Wladimir, who obviously has a very different style to Vitali, despite a lot of people thinking that they're the mirror image of each other.
Yeah, it's a different style. He punches. To me, he punches much harder than his brother, and just smarter. He's stronger, more upright. So he's just, for me, he's harder to fight. To other people, he may be easier. To me, Vitali wasn't as hard. Wladimir was just strong as heck. Great strategy. Used his size and reach to his advantage, which is smart. It was hard to get to him. And, it was more power to him, man. He did his thing in the ring. I mean, he really shut me down in certain ways because of that power. I had to respect his power big time because I was walking into it. I'm like, man, he hit so hard. This is not like his brother. He hit a lot harder. So I give him credit for just being champion for so long and being dominant and being so smart in the ring and knowing how to fight me. A lot of guys don't know how to fight me and don't want to fight me and don't want to get in front of me. And when they do get in front of me, they're like, man, I don't know what to do. It's hard. But Wladimir stayed patient, boxed very well, making me come to him and just truly using all of his advantages to his advantage, which is smart. He's supposed to do it. I weighed like 211. He's 239, 240. Small, actually pretty small for him. But he used his size, his height. He's much taller. He used his reach, his power. I mean, he's gifted with all this stuff, all these advantages. Use it. And he learned how to use it against me. Like, I fought guys much taller, 6'6", 6'7", guys a lot taller or a lot bigger. But they didn't know how to use their height and reach to their advantage. I would outbox them. How would a smaller guy outbox the taller guy? Like, out trick them, out jab them, do all this stuff. Where with Wladimir, that didn't happen. His jab was on point. My jab rarely landed. Couldn't land my left hand. He's shutting it down. Just did smart things in the ring. And he defeated me pretty easy the first fight. I tried. I tried for 12 rounds, but it just wasn't enough.
But tell me, Chris, obviously you went to Germany twice back then, back to back. Obviously the home crowd would have been there in support of the Klitschkos. But what did you make of just the experience travelling to Germany, a place obviously in Europe where the fans over there love their boxing? I'm sure even though they perhaps didn't want you to win the fight, you surely must have got respect from the German fight fans.
Oh my goodness. Loved it. Loved every second of it. I do. Man, the German fans, they love boxing. And they love true boxing. I mean, they kind of, Wladimir Vitali is not really from Germany. So they're from Ukraine. They're adopted. They kind of turned on their man when I fought them in the fight, yelling my name. But when I came back, they were really for their guy. Like, they had a major push for him to win. And they just, the whole production was top notch. From the moment I landed in Germany, treated me like they treated me good, even though I felt like I'm on the B side. The people treated me good in Germany.
Oh, that's great.
And then had a few fans there that really appreciated it. You wouldn't hear them because they're getting crowded out big time, shouted out with so many fans. but I had my few fans there. It wasn't bad. You know, they really, even the fans that wasn't for me, they still appreciate me afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was just a great time. I really appreciate them.
And you returned to the ring. Sorry, Chris.
What was that? No, I'm sorry. I'm done talking.
No, I said you returned to the ring only 3 months later. Obviously, you put together 4 wins back to back, which included a points win over Maurice Harris and a points win over David Tua. It was during that time, I believe, that you signed with Don King. What was that like, Chris? I know we had your cousin Layman on a couple of months back, and he had some interesting stories about the man himself, Don King.
Yeah, it was when I signed with Don King. Honestly, I felt like a slave getting traded to another slave master.
Wow,
that's how I felt. I was with Cedric Kushner. He sold me to Don King right in front of me. Don King bought me, literally bought me. Now I'm with Don King. And then, you know, stuff just started going downhill from there. You get to a point in your life where you think, okay, you reach something and things will be a lot better. You like, this may be pretty good. And then it doesn't happen, not even near close in your mind to how you thought it would go. It's tough. I mean, to run somebody down is to talk about them really bad is bad energy. But it was bad. You know, it was just not a fun time. Not at all. It was at the end of my career, basically, and it was a ruined, just a trash time. I wish I could get it back, but you can't.
Okay, that's interesting because this brings us into December 14th, 2002 in Atlantic City. You boxed for the vacant IBF heavyweight world title against none other than Evander Holyfield. Your cousin Layman was on the undercard that night as well. Tell me about the night you become a 2-time heavyweight world champion against a legend like Evander, Chris. And, you know, you finally, I think, in the eyes of the boxing fans at least, got the respect that you had been due for a long time.
Yeah, it was just a wow. It was a wow moment. Another one because of where I came from. When I won with Vitali Klitschko, as soon as they said he quit, the first thing I thought about was the nightclub. That was the first thing I thought about. I came from a nightclub, and now I'm world champion. Same thing with Evander Holyfield. I'm in the ring with a legend. This is what I was thinking. And then afterwards, I came from a nightclub. A nightclub. How bad do you want it? Man, I was so excited. When I came to the heavyweight division, I wanted to fight 3 guys. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. That's the big 3 to me. I thought there's nothing bigger. If I can get a hold of those 3 in my lifetime, at heavyweight, at a weight where I'm not supposed to be in, and I get to fight these legends, I got a chance to fight Evander Holyfield. Lennox Lewis gave up the belt. He gave up the belt. If you really know boxing, he know why he gave up the belt, because at that time I was on fire. He don't fight lefties that good. I wasn't gonna respect him at that time. I was the man. I felt like I could beat everybody. And then I signed with Don King, and then let the letdown begin. Oh my goodness. Then you have a great fight, and then all of a sudden all this stuff started happening. So, but to answer the question, the fight of Evander Holyfield was a dream. Evander Holyfield in my lifetime. Evander Holyfield. Wow. That was special for a heavyweight title also, to fight a great. I like you said, I think in the eyes of the boxing fans, I redeemed myself from the Ike loss to the Wladimir loss. Now finally, I beat David Tua. Now finally, to beat Evander, I made it. So it was a great feeling. I mean, it was just a great feeling. But like I said, the stuff started happening after that diminished that feeling I had that night. It diminished it big time. So yeah, I was happy though. It was great.
Was that the happiest night of your pro career?
No, actually, honestly, I fought a guy named Waxman Fikes. Man, that's one of the happiest because I beat him. That propelled me into another level in heavyweight boxing. And when I beat Maurice Harris and David Tua, because at the time I fought Maurice Harris, nobody wanted to fight him. He called me out. And I fought him before I fought David Tua. And he was the one that, among all the boxers in the heavyweight division, you don't mess with him. He's the one that nobody want to fight. You don't mess with him. You don't want to mess with me. Now we're fighting each other. It was a big one among boxers, among the heavyweight boxers. It was like, ooh, the two guys nobody want to fight, fighting each other. Uh-oh. And I beat him. And when I beat him, ask Layman Brewster. Layman like, wow, you beat Maurice Harris. At that time, that's saying something. And then I come back and beat David Tua, which people thought I was going to get knocked out. And that was those two fights back-to-back, probably one of the happiest moments of my boxing career, honestly. Of course, like winning the world titles, but to get to the world title, especially to get to the world title the second time and go through those two guys, man, that's nothing better, man. I'm telling you, that's just a great feeling.
Yeah,
great feeling.
No one could deny you at that point. No one could deny you at that point. It was very, very impressive. Your first defense of the IBF heavyweight title was against Frez Oquendo. You beat him unanimously over 12. Saturday, September 20th of 2003 in Connecticut. What do you recall of that evening there?
So what I recall, so I on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I post a lot of videos on my fight, and I break down the fight. And before that fight, I said on social media, before I fought Frez Oquendo, another thing, just like a rib injury, I was banned from boxing. They said I had a stroke. I got a spot on my brain. I didn't know. I was banned from boxing up until the Thursday before I fought on Saturday. I didn't know if I was fighting. So I went to Connecticut not knowing if I was going to fight. Matter of fact, I was banned, so I wasn't going to fight. I was already banned with I had a brain problem. So the whole time. And then the Monday fight week, that Monday, I get the brain scan. That Thursday is the result. So I had to wait until Thursday, scared to death. I didn't know if I was fighting. I didn't know anything. I'm like, oh, I'm banned. I'm freaking out. I just win the heavyweight title, and now I'm banned. I never fight again. So I'm going crazy. And then I take this test when I get a brain test when I get to Connecticut. I'm freaking out. Oh, what's the outcome? What's the results going to be? Come back Thursday, I have a birthmark on my brain. A birthmark. The top doctor in boxing, he was in Connecticut, and he said I got a birthmark. Now I can fight. I'm like, oh. My brother said, you still got to fight. I forgot I had to fight because I thought I wasn't going to fight. And then I got to fight 2 days later. I got to fight Frez Oquendo. And see, the boxers know Frez, but the general public will look at Frez like, he's okay. He's not a big puncher. He boxes. He moves. No. But all the heavyweight boxers look at Frez Oquendo like, no, he can really fight. Like, he can box. He can box. He's smart. He's awkward. So it wasn't like it was going to be an easy fight. But it seemed like that after me beating David Tua and Evander Holyfield the way I did, everybody expected me to blow everybody out. This man 13, 14 pounds bigger. He's just as fast. He's a light heavyweight and amateur. He's really good, really good. He was just beating David Tua prior to fighting me, and he get caught in the 9th round. But he was beating David Tua easier than I was beating him. But everybody expected me to beat Fred Oquendo really easy because of my boxing skills. And it wasn't that easy. It just wasn't easy. Even with all the brain stuff happening, it still would have been a hard fight. Even with that on my mind, he's a hard fighter. He's difficult to fight. It's not like you fight Fred Oquendo and you're gonna win easy. No, he's gonna make you look bad, and if he lose, it's a close fight.
Yeah.
So it was a close fight with me and him. The same thing. I give Fred all kind of credit. He's a really good fighter. Really good. I mean, he could have won that fight that night. He could have won either way. So, luckily that night I got it. Kept my belt. I don't look back. I don't care if I get the decision. Hey, they can say this, and that, but you got to keep moving on. You can't keep looking back. You got to look forward. I just kept looking forward. Hey, you take the criticism, just like I did with the Klitschko fight. I learned from that because I was so embarrassed after the fight, and then it is what I make it. So I just make it like, hey, I kept my belt. I got to move on. I got to impress. I got to impress the crowd. I got to make up for it, but I got to move on. I can't just dwell on this. So that's how I looked at that fight, and I won, and I was happy too because it was close. Because I said in the ring, I said, I think I lost this fight. I may have lost, but I got it. So, you move on, and I did.
That's honest of you to say. It was a good fight. Frez, I think, probably is a underachiever really when it's all said and done. But moving on to your second defense. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no, I'm just agreeing with you. No,
yeah. Your second defense took place in April of 2004 at Madison Square Garden. You boxed Andrew Galotta. I remember asking Lehman. I think Lehman told me that was probably the most satisfying night of his career when he got him out of there in the first round. But your fight with him was very different. A split draw over 12 rounds. Tell us about that one, Chris.
Okay, yeah, I love talking about this one. So people remember when that right before that fight, John Ruiz fought Fred Oquendo. So I'm warming up in the walkway before the fight, getting ready to walk out to the fight. So I see Don King, and with that fight with John Ruiz and Fred Oquendo, they were booing so bad in Madison Square Garden. I seen Don King in the walkway when I was walking. I mean, the look on his face was like stress, like, oh man, they booing. And this was a great night at the Garden. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna save your show. And I know he was thinking, how you going to save my show? You're not a puncher. So I said, okay, this is Madison Square Garden. I'm headlining. I got to turn it out. So I said, forget it. I'm not going to box this time. I'm not going to just sit in the middle of the ring, box, move around. We're going to go to war. I couldn't get off the ropes because he was too big, but I tried to fight him back. And that's one night where they gave me a standing ovation. It was like, it felt so good to fight back in a fight and not just be a pure boxer, but sitting there and trade a little bit. I had a black eye, fought to a draw, could have lost my belt. Not saying that Andrew is an Olympic bronze medalist. He's smart. And the one thing about Andrew, he was treating me like a small guy, which he didn't care. He didn't care about my power. He didn't care about nothing. His whole thought was, I'm going to walk right through you. You're a little guy. You're not a big. Come on, you're not a big guy. I'm a big heavyweight. You're not even a heavyweight. So he had a great game plan. Don't get frustrated. Stay in front of him, make him fight. He made me fight for 12 rounds. Right there, right in front of me. Used his size, his height, his reach, everything. He just used his smarts that night. I mean, it was difficult because I was looking at his right hand the whole fight. I'm like, I'm not getting caught by that. He's not going to knock me out because I'm open for it as a lefty, and he's open for my left a lot, but it wasn't hurting me. So Andrew was just round after round. I'm trying to do all my tricks, make him miss, do all this stuff. He stayed steady the whole time. He never broke. And I was waiting for him to break because I know he's going to get frustrated. I know he's going to do something because I know how mentally he is in certain fights. He kept it together the whole fight. I'm thinking, man, so this fight you're going to do it. And he gave me hell for 12 rounds. But the people loved it. That's one thing. At the Garden, after they booed that fight, they gave us a standing ovation. It was pretty impressive. I loved it. But I said I'd never fight like that again because I got hit with more shots than I needed to.
Yeah, no.
But it was fun.
It was a great fight. And, you obviously liked it. At the Garden, you were back there in your next one. Your third title defense came November 13th, 2004, this time against former world heavyweight title challenger Jamil Big Time McCline. Again, you had to get off the floor in the second round. You go on, though, to win a split decision after 12. So this really, when you think about it, this is, a close one with McCline, a close one with Galotta, a close one with Frez. It's a period of, you went on a bit of a strange kind of run, I guess.
Yeah, so the run is this. It's twofold, I would say. So I'm going through it with my promoter, big time, getting cut every fight, money. But
with Don King, really?
The biggest thing. Yeah, really. Yeah, it was a bad time. But one thing that people, it just is sports in itself. But I'll just look at boxing for now. I'm champion, so I win the world title. If I beat the great Evander Holyfield, so I set a goal for myself and I accomplished it. But life still goes on. So now I got to defend these titles. I felt like I was in a situation where I was the king, where I did what I needed to do. I did it. But now you got to defend your belt. So every fight so I fight Evander Holyfield. You get up for a fight with Evander Holyfield so much because it's Evander Holyfield. Oh, I can't believe it. Then I come make a fight of Frederick Kendall, knowing how good he is, but the name value is not like I'm gonna fight Tyson, my first title defense. I'm fighting these bigger names, and I'm in the mix. No, I'm fighting guys that can really fight. They're hungry for the title, looking at me like I'm smaller. I weigh 214 against Jamil, he weighed 270. Why wouldn't he think, I can beat him? I'm 6'6", 270. He's a little guy. So I started thinking like I was the man, and they're thinking like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get that world title. And they fought me to the end. Jamil McCline, he took everything out of me. Everything. After that fight, I was done. I should have been done with a heavyweight. I should have never fought a heavyweight again. He stripped me of everything in that fight. Man, he had me on the ropes the whole fight. He had me down. I'm hurt in the third round. He busted me up. I had to come back. It was just a grueling fight all the way to the end, to the 12th, to the last bell. It's a little point guard, Isaiah Thomas. Now, I'm just using NBA basketball in America. He's going against Shaquille O'Neal big time and expecting a little bitty guard to be the big center. That's how it was in the heavyweight division. And it just took a toll on me after fight after fight. You fight these big guys, you're getting beat down, and then your performances started falling off big time. And it was with me in that case. And Jamil, in that fight, that was it. I mean, he took everything from me. I mean, I didn't have any more really good performances after that. After that fight, I had to heal up over 3 months of soreness, like extreme soreness throughout the whole body. I had to rest, and it ruined me, I think, for the rest of my career. So, and especially at heavyweight. that was a tough one there.
Yeah, because you were out for almost a year. You came back and obviously defended successfully your title for the fourth time. Well, I should say your fourth title defense. October 1st, 2005 in Reno, Nevada, live on Showtime against Devarel Williamson. Once again, another unanimous decision over 12. What do you remember about that one, Chris?
Oh, my God. I was going through it so bad before that fight with my promoter. I mean, it was bad. He was trying to get me stripped before the fight. I have all this stuff on my mind. Me and Devarel are good friends. The fight was made in 4 weeks. Called me 4 weeks before the fight and said, I want you to fight in Reno, Nevada. You fighting Devarel Williamson. Really? And I was a co-main event. I'm heavyweight champion. James Toney fought a 10-rounder against Dominic Gwynn, and he was the main event. That's how my promoter did me. I'm the co-main event and heavyweight champion. So in that fight, I got cut over $2 million. I wasn't making that much money. I'm making around $2.5 million, so I'm getting cut $2 million. I'm fighting a good friend. He punches hard as heck. We sparred over 200 rounds together. I know him really good. I was like, forget this. I'm not going out trying to make a good fight with Devarel, who punches real hard. Forget that. I'm just going to just get by in this fight. I don't care what the crowd says. This is my last fight with Don King. It's over. So it was hard. You know, you being world champion, you hoping you have the best time of your life, you win the title, and then it becomes the worst time, one of the worst times in your career. And you have to end on this note. And it just wasn't a happy time. Who want to box under these circumstances? Every fight is something. Every fight I hear something. Okay, you cut this much money. This is going to happen. This. And you're like, this is not fun no more. It turns into all business now. Everything's business. I just want to box. So, I win, and then I separate from my promoter, and that was the best thing for me. But at that time, I was done with boxing. Honestly, I didn't want to box anymore. It wasn't fun. If boxing not fun, why box?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm being very honest. This is not, like, I can tell you these stories. Like, I tell these stories on social media, and I tell people, go look it up, go verify it with people. I'm being very, very honest. If I had separated ribs, if I had broke nose before a fight, hey, it's part of the sport. A lot of boxers have injuries before a fight. That's why I don't bet on boxing, because you never know, what kind of injury you have. So I just tell the truth about everything. I try to tell the truth about every single story I talk about. If I bring up my story of my history of boxing, hey, this is what happened. A guy, if he beat me, he beat me. If I'm hurt in a fight, I was hurt. Now I'm telling you that I was hurt. I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. Stuff happens. I know how good I am. I can be. I know how good I can be in the ring, and I know how good other guys were when I fought, and how, if they had advantages or no advantages. If I think Wladimir is better than Vitali, or Vitali better than Wladimir, I'm being honest about it. If he knocked me out, you knocked me out. Who cares? It's part of the sport. If somebody knocked me out in sparring, I don't care if he was lesser than me and he wasn't that good. People get caught all the time. I get embarrassed by nothing. Stuff happens all the time. We live one time. I just want to live out my life really good. I have a lot of boxing stories. I like telling them. I still can talk, pretty good. And I have a pretty good memory. I feel great. So I just want to share with the world, inspire and be inspired. That's how my life is. And I just love it. I love talking about boxing like with you right now. It's the best. I like going over my career. I like somebody that knows my career. And hey, you may be a fan or maybe not, but at least you got me on and we get to talk about it. And I get to share my experience with the world.
Absolutely. I mean, when I first made Twitter, you were one of the first people I followed on there back in the day. And we were. You won't remember it now, but we were pretty buddy on Twitter. We were buddies on there for sure. We used to tweet each other quite a bit.
Oh man, that's cool.
That is cool.
That's cool.
But anyway, Chris, where were we? Sorry. Thanks for the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
We were at the,
you went off on a bit of a tangent with the lesson on philosophy, which is always welcome on this podcast. So you had you defended the title 4 times. That leads us into April 2006. You once again get on a plane. You fly to Germany. You box Wladimir. This occasion, you'd get stopped in the 7th. Tell us about that night, which I doubt you look back on with great memories. I don't think you look back on that too happily, I guess.
Yeah, it's all I've been through with my promoter, going through that, and I'm finally away from him, and then I get to fight Wladimir. I get the rematch, so I get a call to fight Wladimir Klitschko. I get a call to fight Klitschko, not Wladimir. It was Klitschko. That's what my lawyers say. Hey, Klitschko want to fight you. I thought it would be Vitali, because he was champion at the time, and I'm thinking, he want that rematch. Oh yeah, let's get it. And then my lawyer said, no, it's Wladimir. I was like, all right, you fought Wladimir. That was tough. So I said I would take it. I wanted to take it because I wanted to beat both Klitschko brothers cleanly. I had the best camp ever. I was on point. I was ready to fight. I was so ready. That's one fight where I had no injuries going into the fight. I'm clean. My camp was good. I had the best camp. So we fight. We come around fight time. And I hate even talking about it. I won't bring that up, but I lost it going down the walkway. I lost it. I never stare my opponent in his eyes when we get to the middle of the ring. If you watch that fight, I'm looking Wladimir dead in his eyes, like, let's go to war. Because I was upset by some things in the first fight. And I lost my whole game plan of how I wanted to fight. And if you notice in that fight, I tried to fight him, like go to war with him. I tried to stand there and fight him instead of just being smart, using my boxing skills and box him. I lost it in that fight, and I never lose it. That's why I'm so upset with myself. I lost the whole way. I thought I ran down literally the catwalk when you walk to the ring. I ran down. I was so anxious to fight. Usually I'm very calm and reserved. I usually will walk down slow, just take my time. I ran. I was so ready to fight and got blown out. I mean, Wladimir picked me apart. The first round was okay because I was trying to rush in there and fight. And at the end of the first round, I hit with I think a right hand, and it changed everything. I'm like, dang. It bugged me bad, and then from that point on, downhill. And I took a butt whooping. But I didn't quit. That's one thing. I went out on my feet. When I went down the last time and when I pulled my head up, when he seen all the blood coming out of my face, he had to stop it. He was giving me chances in the fight, but he had to stop it. He was like, nah, that's enough. You too tough for your own good. You taking a hell of a beat. And in that fight, I mean, that was the only fight where my father, after the fight, he came up to me and said, "What the hell were you doing?" He got in my face. "What the hell were you doing? That wasn't the game plan." He got real mad at me. And I said, I know I lost it. I mean, sometimes it happens, and usually it happens in the locker room. And this one happened to me on the walking to the fight. I was like, I'm going to war. I changed my game plan. And I paid for it dearly. Because I did have a good training camp, but, man, Vlad blew me out the second time really, really bad. I mean, it was no question how good he was in that fight. So, you know, it was hurtful that I lost my belt, but you know, it was part of life. I won it, and you gotta lose it sometime, and I lost to Wladimir Klitschko. Like my son told Vladimir afterwards, he said, "Man, keep my dad's belt as long as you can," and that man kept it as long as he could, and he always brought my son up, saying, "I gotta keep Chris's belt for his son." It's not my belt anymore; it was his, but he did honor that. So, fighting Wladimir Klitschko, getting a chance to fight both of them when you know you're not a heavyweight. I'm not a heavyweight, and I'm fighting these giants, and I'm battling in Germany, and people are expecting me to basically win in some of these fights. Exciting time, man. I can't complain much about my career in that aspect. I did get to fight Vladimir and Vitali, David to Evander Holyfield. I mean, in my career, and now I'm coming back a second time. I get to fight all the new guys, so I'm excited. I was excited. It was okay being a heavyweight. It was okay. I didn't get to fight to that really like the Tyson, Lennox Lewis, those two, but I did get Evander. At least I got one out of the big three, so I'm okay with it.
And there's obviously a couple of remaining fights to mention before we get on to the future, the up-to-date. After that fight with Klitschko, you're out of the ring for an entire year before returning in the Bahamas. You came back with your 40th career win over there. Just briefly, Chris, what was that like going out there and, you know, reaching the big 4-0 in terms of your wins?
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, going to Bahamas and fighting just a trip alone. It was funny because a lot of my family went, and we went a week before, so they got to really vacation a whole week. I'm in my room the whole week. I didn't get to do anything. I'm in beautiful Bahamas in my room, and then I really didn't feel like fighting. You're in a nice place like that. It was after I lost my world title, so I really didn't feel like fighting. I mean, do I really want to fight a heavyweight? Okay, I'll fight. They asked me, "You want to fight in the Bahamas?" I'm like, "Sure." ESPN, of course. And I fight, and I think I won. They stopped in the 7th round. You know, it was okay. You know, getting back in the ring is always fun. To me, it's just fun. A great vacation for my family. My kids were younger then, so they got to experience Bahamas. It was okay. Getting back in the ring, it was all right.
And 6 months after that, that's when you travel to Germany again, this time to fight the Olympic gold medalist and undefeated professional Alexander Povetkin. On this occasion, obviously, as you say, you know, you're past the better days at this point at heavyweight, at least. You know, things were on the come down, and yeah, you're stopped in the 11th round. Tell us about that night there, returning back to Germany.
So, honestly, I mean, I'm being very honest. 8 days before I fight Povetkin, when I looked at Alexander Povetkin, and at that time in my career, I'm thinking, I'm watching him box. He's young. I'm gonna school him just on talent. This is gonna be easy work. I mean, he's a tough kid. He didn't have that many fights, but I thought he's still young. He's green. My skill set is gonna kill him. 8 days before that fight, my right rib gets separated. 8 days before. It was the Friday before we were leaving Sunday morning to go to Germany. And on that Friday, crack rib. 8 days before. Everything was set. So I argue with my wife, just like I did with Ike. We argue. Why are you going? Why are you fighting? I'm like, everything's set. Nobody won't fight me still. This is the opportunity to fight Wladimir again. It was the IBF tournament. It was the first fight of the IBF tournament. I think it was two other guys on the other bracket. Me on the other side. They fought, and then me and Povetkin fight.
Calvin Brock and Eddie Chambers.
And Eddie Chambers. They were on the other side. So I'm ready to do it. I'm like, okay, that happened. I had lidocaine patches on the whole week in Germany. I'm like, oh, man, not again, my ribs. In the fight, I mean, Povetkin decent. He kept picking the pace up, though. I mean, he getting stronger and stronger every round. That's the only thing I really remember about the fight is that. And after the fight, Wladimir called my lawyer and said, "Why did your dad stop the fight? Why did his dad stop the fight? He didn't seem hurt. I wasn't hurt, nothing. He stopped it because he knew I wasn't winning the fight at the time, and he knew I was injured. So he was like, I'm going to stop the fight." And another fight where I look back at my career and I go, man, I shouldn't have fought. But if you don't fight, who do you fight? It was just tough, man. I'm like, God, I had to go through all this stuff, and you still got to fight. You still got to try to – you have nobody want to fight you. You won't make the money. You won't do this. This won't happen for you. You're on the B side. You know, it was just difficult. I'm with Don King. It seems like you're never getting a break. And then when you finally get the break, and then now you're trying to get another break because now you're back in another situation. That's just how my career went. And for me, in my career, when I got done with my very last fight, I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't at all. And people say, man, you won 2 heavyweight titles, but it was how I won them. The first one, yeah. And then the second one was the best moment of my life. And then I have to deal with all this promotion. Now the reality hit of you dealing with this. Now you got to deal with this, all these different issues when it should be the happiest time of your life. I wasn't satisfied. Still was. I've been in boxing my whole life. And this is my boxing story? No, I wasn't. I'm not satisfied. And I'm not going to be satisfied till I die, until I get what's really mine. And what's really mine to me is a middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight title. That's how much I pushed myself in my mind on my comeback. So we can talk about the comeback now.
Okay. So yeah, just like I say, the timeline. You know, after the Povetkin fight, like we say, you come back in the States. You have that fight against Sean George, which obviously you dropped down to light heavyweight for, and we know that. We don't even need to talk about that. We know that was a bit crazy looking back now, really. Then, yeah, your final career fight, it was good because you went to Germany and got a win over there, March 21st, 2009. It took you 4 rounds to get rid of Matthias Sandow. Just a real, I don't want to go into a different area here. I just want to ask you a real quick question. But that fight against Povetkin, should you have won, you'd have gone on to fight the winner of Chambers and Brock, which obviously would be Chambers. That would have been an interesting fight because he was another small guy for heavyweight with slickness and speed like you. Just briefly, Chris, how do you think that fight would have played out?
Hey, I feel like nobody going to beat me. That's how I feel. He had speed, quickness. I'm left-handed. He didn't have upper body movement. He covers up. So, and he's shorter than me. And he's fast, and I thought it would have been an amazing fight going back and see who's faster. But it boils down to me, are you going to break? Is my defense going to break you? Because once I start putting my defense on you, how are you mentally? And with guys like Eddie, he's used to it being his way also. That way, just like me. But my thing is, whoever's gonna break each other first, win. And I felt like this. I'm not gonna break. I gotta get to Wladimir Klitschko. I had to. And then that happens. I fight Povetkin when I fought Povetkin. So, stuff happens. But I think it would have been a great fight. It's been, he was a younger guy, much younger at that time, but I still had it in me to be champion. To be champion to fight Wladimir Klitschko. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get to Wladimir, period. So if I would have got past Povetkin, oh, man, one step to Wladimir again, I made sure that would have happened.
Okay, and like we say, your career came to an end there. 41 wins, 5 losses and 1 draw. It took you about a year, if I'm not mistaken, to decide to retire. What kind of went through your mind during that time? Because obviously, Chris, as you said, you were not satisfied with the way things ended, and that has led to you now, at this age, to turn around and say, I want to come back again, you know?
Well, when I went down to light heavyweight, I did it all wrong. I mean, I did it the worst way. Starving, I didn't know nutrition like I know it now. So, and after my last fight, my wife, my lawyer, everybody had me retired. I wasn't done mentally. I just wasn't done. I was done at heavyweight. But I was thinking, what did I do wrong when I lost all this weight? I mean, it was bad the way I did it. So I started doing research, but I came down with chronic pain in 2009. I had nerve damage in my foot that just came. It's neuropathy. I didn't know what it was. And that took me on a series of depression, suicidal. I mean, it was bad. I took my family through a lot of stuff over the course of 11 years. The pain got so bad in my foot, I wanted to cut my foot off. And then then they said phantom pain. If you will have phantom pain, which you will have no foot, but you will think you still have pain. You think your foot's still there, but it's no foot, but you still having pain. I said, no, I can't take that. But it was so bad, I wanted to cut it off at the leg. I said, what about the leg? They said it'd be still phantom pain. So I'm taking this pain. I can't take prescription drugs. They made me suicidal. Almost got arrested downtown Los Angeles. I lost my mind. I mean, I lost it bad. That's a whole story, too.
What year was that, Chris? What year was that?
That was 2011.
Okay.
2011 this happened because my pain came down in 2009. And I was going everywhere. I mean, I spent so much money on all because I couldn't take prescription drugs, so I would go to all these homeopathic doctors, and nobody was helping me. They didn't know how to fix, the nerve damage. And oh man, I went everywhere, did everything, been through it, all the way from 2009 to 2017, where I changed my diet. And when I changed my diet, I mean, I went from changing one item, then 2 items, to feeling better, feeling a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, to changing everything. And now I'm totally healed. I mean, I had a hip replacement because I needed both of my shoulders replaced, both of my hips replaced, got one hip replacement, and the nerve damage in my foot was worse than both my hips and both my shoulders put together. The nerve pain is the worst pain. Oh, it was crazy. So going through all this stuff, I'm still eating like a heavyweight. And I started noticing that in 2017. I started noticing every time I eat certain foods, my foot would flare like out of control. And I'm starting to notice it more and more. I'm thinking, man, I got to change something. So, like I said, I changed 1 item, 2 items, and then slowly but surely, I don't eat hardly no meat, wheat, dairy, sugar, gluten. I mean, nothing. Everything I'll be organic, healthy, and plant-based, and I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. But when you're in a situation where you wanting to take your life, and I don't say that lightly. Like, this is not like a game. Like, people say, "Oh yeah, I was suicidal." No, it was it was real. Like, you really want to take your life. Something that you never even think about in your wildest dreams. And now you're thinking about that because you're in so much dang pain. And I tell all the pain survivors out there, fight, man. Fight. You live one time. And that's when I thought, I live one time. And I spent 11 years in dang pain. Missed 11 years of my life. No more. I said, from this point on, I'm going to live life to the fullest, inspire and be inspired. Let's get it.
And Chris, when you talk about being suicidal, was that, something that crossed your mind purely because of the pain you were in, or was it paired with depression that got you to that point where you're thinking about such obviously horrific things?
Pain.
Pain, okay.
Pain led me to depression, suicide. When you're in chronic pain, this is not going away. It's not like, so if you stub your toe, you know that pain going away. When you have something that stays with you all day, it's just with you all day. You can't walk away from, you can't leave it. It just stays with you. It makes you go freak. And what do? You can't take any pills, nothing. So in 2015, the year my mom died, Shannon Briggs, boxer Shannon Briggs?
Of course.
It introduced me to cannabis. It was the first thing in 7 years that lowered my pain some. I lost my mind. I mean, I literally, wow. I smoked cannabis. I started smoking it, and then I started getting educated on it, on how the leaves work, how the oils work. Now I'm really educated on it. But when I started smoking, I never smoked a day in my life. Never had a drink of alcohol a day in my life. Never smoked or nothing. I smoked so much marijuana, you couldn't. I smoked more than anybody because it helped with the pain. I was going crazy. Like, this stuff helps. It helps. And it was easing my pain down, but it didn't cure it. Other high doses of cannabis helped me get cured, and my diet. But I was a high doses from a cannabis expert, which heals the body, and I was doing it the right way instead of just smoking. And when that started, saved my life.
So, Chris, is that a thing of the past, or are you still blazing up?
No. Every day. I do it the rest of my life.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it passed in some way in boxing. If you really study cannabis in the right way and how it's supposed to be used, we have cells around the brain that's receptor sites for cannabis. It's for cannabis. So it helps the brain. We won't have all these issues. It will really cut down a lot of issues in boxing with health. Because the real thing in boxing, man, it's a head sport. We're going to get some brain damage. Period. I don't care who you are. It's just part of the sport. We sparring. We're fighting all the time. We're constantly getting hit in the head. Constantly. And nobody talks about it. Guys walking around slurring. My speech is slower. I'm not stupid. It's part of boxing. So this can help in many research. In doing research, it's clinical research on cannabis and the brain. But nobody don't want to listen to it because they think it's just a drug. People want to get high. No, it's a plant. It serves many purposes, many for the human body. We got receptor sites for cannabis. So use it so it can heal the body. Every day I will smoke, drink the leaves. I put it in my drink. I do everything with cannabis. It's all through my body. It's not helping me in training. It's not helping me in any way, in boxing. Matter of fact, it slows me down. I'm tired. I'm like, I want to chill. But I know one thing about this plant. It heals the body in some way. It heals the body. I'm living proof of it. Believe me.
Chris, again, when I do these interviews, I usually do these interviews with guys who've retired a long time ago and they're not thinking about making a comeback. So I've got like a bunch of I probably got about 6 questions, something like that, quick fire questions about the past. I want to just make them really short because I want to stay on the subject that we're at. So if you can just answer these as quick as possible, we'll get back onto what, the current affairs. Was there anyone in your career, Chris, I'm guessing obviously at heavyweight, that you wished you had the chance to fight but never got the chance? I think I'm probably going to beat you to the answer and say Lennox or Tyson. Must be the 2 guys.
Yep, those 2.
Okay.
Lennox Lewis more than Tyson at that time because he was the man at that time when I beat David Tua. He was world champion. I was guaranteed to fight him, and I was so excited, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew it wasn't, and it didn't happen. He gave the build-up. So Lennox Lewis was the guy. If it was Mike Tyson there, it would have been Tyson. I would love. I have nothing against none of these guys. I love them. Matter of fact, I look up to them. But just to have a chance to be in the ring, to say I fought Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, is just great. I love it.
And who?
So Lennox Lewis, yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
Lewis and Tyson.
No,
just Lewis and Tyson.
Who would you say was the biggest puncher you ever stepped in the ring with?
Oh, man. Honestly, I get that question a lot. These guys hit so hard. Like I told you when I went back to Uriah Grant. Man, he hit so hard. He weighed 199 pounds. I mean, so many guys punch hard. Everybody, it's just heavyweights. It's just different to me. I'm so used to fighting. I was so used to fighting smaller guys that it was just unreal how hard these guys hit. Like it's hard. Levi Billups to Lionel Butler. I mean, I just keep the list go on and on. I can name all kinds of. Man, Jose Revolta. When I fought Jose Revolta, he hit so hard. When I fought him, he's past his prime. And all I was thinking was major upset. He hit me on the shoulder when I first came out because I always try to take a punch on the shoulder to see how hard somebody hit. He hit me on the shoulder. It was like he knocked my shoulder cap off. And I was like, man, he hits hard. If that was on the chin, major upset right there. I was undefeated. So these guys hit so hard. That's why it's so hard for me to say, well, he hit hard because as soon as if I say Wladimir Klitschko, another name pop up. Okay. I can go with David too. I can go with Uriah Grant. I can go with Lionel Butler. I can go with this guy. Everybody just hit hard. Okay. I mean, I can't say just one guy.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Again, briefly, I want to ask you if you had any regrets, if you could go back and change something. Again, I think I know what you're going to say. Did you have any regrets?
Yeah.
If you could go back and change something, what would it be?
In a perfect situation, I'll never fought a heavyweight.
Oh, okay.
Why? It would have been it was the craziest thought ever. So I never fought a heavyweight.
Okay. And who would you say, Chris, of all the guys you boxed, was the best all-round fighter? The guy that had it all. It's got to be surely Wladimir or Vitali. Surely.
Wladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
To me, it was the hardest fight at heavyweight I could possibly have. I mean, when you fight against guys like Frederick Kindler going back and forth with speed and stuff, that's tough too. But stylistic-wise, being outgunned in every area, Wladimir Klitschko easy.
And again, just give me one name here, Chris. Vitali or Wladimir? In your opinion, you boxed them both. Who's the better brother?
I think Vitali would beat Wladimir, in my opinion.
I didn't think you was going to say that, actually. I didn't think you'd say that.
But to fight one of them, I would rather fight Vitali.
Okay.
Because I look at styles. I don't look at me per se because I'm small. I mean, when you match him up against a bigger heavyweight, it's totally different fight. Now, so you match Vitali up against Sam Peter, and you match his brother up against Sam Peter. Then what? Vitali have an easy time, and I don't care if Sam Peter was in his prime. He's having an easier time, but Wladimir not. It's going to be a tough fight every time. Sam going to come at him because they're two punchers. See, Vitali think boxing before punching. Wladimir thinking knockout before boxing. So his boxing ability makes him a harder fight because he can bang you out, but at the same time he can box you for 12 rounds easy. Where Wladimir, if he don't knock you out, he may give up. Like everybody's saying, well, he's kind of gun shy, he's kind of cowardly. Well, he's just a front runner. He's gonna blow you out early, but you taking his shot, he kind of gun shy later in the fight or early in the fight. He's kind of gun shy, but Vitali will fight you. Like he'll fight you to the end. He got that tough guy mentality, and that's what I noticed for me between both the brothers. Even though Wladimir had a better style against me than Vitali, but if you see those two fight, if you break it down their styles and who they fought and how they fought them, I go with Vitali Klitschko. I mean, I study a lot of boxing, man. I know I be talking like, maybe over somebody's head when I talk about the two, but I go into all the little styles and all the fights they had and compare both of them. And then even for me, fighting them, comparing them, I'm like, if I was just a little bit bigger heavyweight, it wouldn't be so easy for Wladimir. But I could be a little bit bigger heavyweight with Vitali, and he's still going to try to fight me the same. I mean, and if you see him fight other fighters, he fought Lennox Lewis. They fought in the trend like he fought him. Like he went right at him. I just had a different style. I made him miss, and I'm doing all these tricks, and it kind of threw him off. It didn't throw Wladimir off at all. He stayed strong, stayed steady the whole time. And I'm like, dang. And he's good, but if they fought each other, I think Vitali would beat him. That's just my opinion.
No, and that's an opinion I value massively. Getting on to the present times, Chris, I must ask, obviously, you're 50 years of age now. You've got the comeback on your mind. What initially triggered you to want to come back? Because you've had a long time out. It hasn't just been a short period of time. Like you said, it's been over 10 years. Yeah. You've had a lot of down times, I guess, low points, I should say, in that time. What triggered it? Because I'm thinking it's not. Some people are going to probably say, "Hey, he's smoking weed now, just like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson made his comeback," but I know it's nothing to do with that you're coming back.
No. I honestly, my mom died 5 years ago, so I had comeback on my mind since I retired. I had to think of a way, man. I got to think of a way to fight at my original weight class. And then I started studying nutrition and food and just the mindset. But my mom died 5 years ago. And 4 years ago, I had to talk to my mom. I had to talk to her. And it was late at night, and on the couch, I see my mom. And I tell people this, they're like, man, you crazy, but this is my story. I see my mom. I'm sitting on the couch. And I had to talk to her because I always call my mother about boxing questions. And this is a big one because I think about coming back to boxing. So I really had to talk to her about that. Nobody else. So I see my mom sitting on the couch late at night. We're talking the pros and cons of coming back. She's breaking it down to me. You sure? Had you exhausted every possibility in your mind of how you want to do this? How breaking it all down, and then at the very end of everything, she's left me with this. Chris, whatever you put your mind to, you can do. She's been telling me that since I was a little boy. Since I was a little boy, she always told me that. Through all my boxes, she'll whisper to me, whatever you put your mind to, Chris, you can do this. You can do this. She said, that's all I'm going to leave you with. And that's the last time I visited my mom. Whatever you put your mind to. From that point on, I've trained every day of my life. 3 years. 3 years ago. Every single day. You can ask anybody in my family. I became an addict. An addict to try to get back what I should have got. What I should have got. My middleweight title. My super middleweight title. My light heavyweight title. And people think I'm crazy. But I look at it like this, man. We live one time. When I turned 50 years old, I thought about it. When I turned 50, I said, man, I'm 50 years old. Look how fast it came. It came like that. So in another 50 years, if it go like that, it'd be 100. What have I accomplished? Am I just going to sit here and talk and think about it? Or am I going to be a doer and just do it? Do it in my life. Do it in my one life. I said, forget it. I'm going for it. Who cares what people think about me? I care less. Well, he's 50. Man, you're gonna get hurt. You're going to get killed. Well, you will see.
Chris.
That's all I got to say.
What are you weighing at the moment?
Right now, I weigh 100. I don't know if you know in pounds, but I weigh like 163 pounds.
Okay, so just over middleweight. Okay.
Yeah, very small.
So Chris,
it's natural.
Obviously, Bernard Hopkins, a guy that he holds the world record for being the oldest world champion in boxing. If you were to come back and win just one world title, you'd break that record. I mean,
it's about to get broken.
How soon?
It's about to get broken.
How soon, Chris, are we likely to see you back in the ring realistically? Have you had conversations? Is there a plan in place?
April. Right now, April.
Okay.
I wanted to get back in January this month and then next month, but they're saying with COVID, April. And I'm going to kill it. I'm in the best shape ever. And you think the Chris Byrd at heavyweight was good? Watch. You're going to see a 50-year-old man, it's going to blow your mind. Because if you watch me spar right now, you'll go, oh, I don't even want to say the words, but you'll go, oh, my goodness. This guy is better than he was when he was at heavyweight. When I look at myself at heavyweight, I'm slow. I was fat. I'm soft. I'm like, I hated my body. I hated the way I looked. I hated the speed, the movement. It was all slow. It was a slower version of me. I look at it now. I'm like, that's not me. But they see me in the gym now. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. You see me in the gym, you go, wow. I'll put money, if I'm sparring, you will stop and start watching. You go, that's unusual.
So, Chris.
Who is that guy?
So we saw Mike Tyson come back. This is, it was a bit of a spectacle, a bit of an event. Everyone was tuned in just to watch. It was almost a bit circus-like. That is not the case with you. This is a serious thing. The plan is to try and become a 3-weight world champion. Sorry, a 4-weight world champion if you include heavyweight.
Yeah, this is a for real thing. Like, I'm not playing. Like, that Tyson and Roy Jones, that was great for them. But that was an exhibition. It was true exhibition. I'm coming back to fight. I want to box. I want to see if my old 50-year-old self can outwit and outthink and out strength, out everything these young guys. I feel I can. I feel like I'm 22 years old, just like I just came back from the Olympics. I feel great. I'm like, okay, let's get it. I'm not intimidated, afraid. I spar with young guys all the time. So, and I'm understanding what's coming back at me now because I'm smaller. Guys are quicker, but my reflexes, they're really good. And that's the first thing that people would say, but they never fought. The reflexes go. Of course, you get older. Your diet, especially the way you live and what you put in your body, if it's not good, of course your reflexes they'll fade. But if you're healthy, they come back better than ever.
Chris,
my reflexes on point.
Have you looked at any of the middleweights? Because obviously that's the target. You're 163. You're obviously going to be looking to fight at 160. Have you perhaps looked at any of the champions? Is there anyone that you've got your eye on that you believe you can beat in particular? Because I'm guessing you don't want to come back and have 10 warm-up fights. You want to kind of throw yourself in the deep end straight away.
Yeah, I'm going to have a couple warm-up fights, like 2, get my...
Yeah.
I haven't fought in 13 years, get my feet wet, but my sparring is going great. And honestly, the middleweight division is on fire. And the one guy in the middleweight division, the boogeyman of it, is Demetrius Andrade. Of course, that's the matchup.
Okay.
He's considered the best without being the best. Because we all know who the best is when somebody don't fight him.
Okay.
When people avoid. See, I hate this. I hate how boxing is. Everybody avoiding. You got four middleweight champions. 4. Why? 3, 4 middleweight. Let's all the champions get together. Let's get this going. You got promoters fighting. Everybody's fighting. I'm trying to make fights. I always try to make fights at heavyweight. If I come back at this weight class, I'm trying to fight the best in the weight class. I'm not going to scurry around. I'm going to get a few fights in. I'm going to challenge him, and him. I don't care how old I am. And don't care how old I am, because now all of a sudden you're scared. Well, he's good because now most of the coaches are my age. They know me. So they know how good I really can be. They know how good I am. So already, all the older fighters, Floyd, Oscar, Bernard, when my name go in the hat, everybody, no, I don't want to fight him. He's too big. He's too this. He's too already with the older guys. So let's see the younger guys do the same thing. Because when you have a skill set that's unusual, I'm left-handed too, and now I'm punching. I wasn't a puncher at heavyweight, but I'll bang you out at middleweight. I'll sit there and trade with you. I don't care. I don't feel you can beat me. I fought at heavyweight. I got a lot of knowledge in this sport, and especially fighting bigger guys. So I'm not worried about these middleweights. So I'm a major threat to everybody in this weight class. A major threat, and they know it.
And Chris,
I'm willing to prove it. That's the main thing. I want to prove that a 50-year-old man can win a world title.
Chris,
that's my motivation.
You mentioned April there. I don't want you to give away too much information if everything's not, if all boxes are not yet ticked. But is there anything else you can tell us in terms of location wise or just anything at all? Is it just April? Is that all you have at the minute to divulge?
Right now, as of today, I'm hearing April. They were saying maybe at the end of March because of the COVID and shows and the placing and everything of how everything going. But right now, April. Hopefully, the comeback is April, and it's gonna be a big one.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a big one because I'm bringing this back. I'm bringing the old school back. But all my old people out there, let's get excited. It's time to get it. It's our time. So I feel like, man, it is a perfect time. It's in COVID time, so a lot of people are glued to TV. It may not be that many people at the fights, but at least you're glued to TV. You will see a 50-year-old wow the crowd. You're gonna be like, hey, he's back. I'm back. So I'm happy, and I'm ready for the world title.
And Chris, my final real question for you now. This is one that I must ask to everyone that we speak to from overseas. I get some great answers to this question. Guys over here would love to hear your answer to this, especially your answer to this. You know boxing inside out. Who comes to mind when I ask you, who's your favourite fighter of all time from the UK? Any era?
Wow, UK have so many fighters. God, that's a good one. You put me on the spot big time from the UK, because goodness, how many fighters? Now, okay, where's Joe Calzaghe from?
Yeah, he's from the UK, yeah.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay. He is from the UK. Man, you guys got so many good fighters. Cause it was a point where y'all had more champions than in England, I think last year or 2 years ago, than the U.S. I'm like, man, England is killing it. UK is, woo. I'm just trying to think back.
Some of the most popular answers we get to that question are, some people say Calzaghe, some people... The most popular answer is Prince Nassim Hamed. Everyone loves him. Lennox Lewis is another popular one.
Yeah.
You get some people saying Chris Eubank or Nigel Benn or Ricky Hatton.
Nigel Benn, yeah. I think I'm going to go with the undefeated one.
Okay.
Honestly.
Calzaghe.
Joe Calzaghe. Because, to me, he didn't get the credit that he really deserved. Because if you think about, he had one draw. I think he was 48-0-1.
No. 46-0. No draws.
What? Oh, no draws. So 46-0. I thought he had draw. My bad. To fight and go undefeated that long, gotta be the best.
Yeah.
To stay undefeated is, I was 26-0 when I lost, and to get to 30, then to get to 40 is like, oh, really? And you fighting at high levels. This is not like you fighting still on the low level nightclub level. He fight at a higher level, so he has to be the best. Anybody that go undefeated to me, and you fighting at higher levels, you're just not popular. As popular as like certain people, so they won't give him the credit. But I know boxing. Joe Calzaghe is the man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very popular
answer.
answer.
One of the best fighters in history, in the top 10. He went undefeated, man. Come on. I mean, it's not like he went undefeated with sorry guys. I remember he whooped Roy butt, and I was at the fight when he beat Bernard Hopkins. So he's great.
Yeah, Jeff Lacey as well. Yeah.
Oh, the Jeff Lacey fight. That's not even. That was child's play.
Yeah.
Oh man, he smoked him. Yeah, he's good.
But just finally, Chris, man, obviously the UK fans absolutely adore you. I know that you know that. I know that you've obviously had lots and lots of people message you and stuff like that, support you over the years from the UK. What's your closing message before we wrap this up, just to your supporters from over here, man, that's, you know, been with you on the journey and I'm sure will be with you on the next chapter?
Man, honestly, I hope in my one life, in my second career, in my one life, we get to live one, and we all get to live one time. I hope I get to fight the UK. Honestly, that's one of my dreams. I can tell you a story of one of my dreams that got crushed from a guy from the UK. It was a promoter from the UK, Frank Warren. When my contract was up with my local promoter, I was so excited because now I'm 21-0 and promoters want me. Like, I didn't get signed after the Olympics. Now they want me. So Frank Warren, he was one of the promoters that want me. I fly over to England to a Prince Nassim Hamed fight with Frank Warren. I was so excited. I was like, I can't believe he want to sign me. So we come to the fight. We come in on Friday. Fight Saturday. No, actually, we came in on Thursday. Fight was Saturday. We left on Sunday. We come. We go to the fight. We do weigh in, everything. He never talked to me. The whole trip. I mean, he flew us first class. We did everything. I mean, it was a great trip. Get to the fight. I'm so excited to talk to Frank Warren. I'm like, oh. You don't talk to him. Wait, you fly me over here to sign me, but you don't talk to him. So the fight goes by. Sunday comes. Go to the airport. We fly back.
What the hell?
Me and my wife said, damn, he never talked to us the whole time. What was this trip about? This was what? Come to find out later, a guy told him that I was born. You don't want to sign him. He ain't that good. So he didn't talk to me.
Wow.
You talk about devastated? Devastated? I never said anything about it. But to this day, really, it was devastating because after the Olympics, I didn't get signed. So now it's time. Oh, I had to fight to get 21-0 at a heavyweight just to get recognized. Now I'm noticed. He noticed me, but now he don't notice me. That hurt out. I was thinking the whole time, to this day, I don't know what happened. I just heard somebody told him that. Somebody told me that. He never spoke to me ever. Who does that? Who flies somebody somewhere and then don't talk to them?
That's crazy.
Doesn't even acknowledge. Never even looked my way. Like I wasn't even there.
Wow.
That's one time I thought, man, I could fight in England. Oh man, they'll probably appreciate my style more there than here.
Yeah.
Because nobody really appreciated my style. I'm a little guy fighting at heavyweight. I should get some credit for it, and I'm winning. So I thought, well, the English people, I think they really appreciate that. Man, this is a great opportunity to fight in England. Didn't get it. I'm not mad at them or nothing about it. It's just something that happened. It was unfortunate because I wish I would have had a chance to show my talent in front of the fans in England. Man, I would have been so excited. But stuff happens.
You never know, man. It could happen in the future. It could happen in the future. We'd love you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, I appreciate this talk. I appreciate everything. You have me on. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Honestly, Chris, it's been an absolute honour walking down memory lane with you and looking to the future. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you, and I hope we can speak again in the future.
Yes, same to you, man. You have a great night. Have a great life. Enjoy yourself.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 276 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Eddie Chambers has been with me for the early part of the show. A massive, massive thank you to our sole guest on this week's podcast, the former two-time heavyweight world champion Chris Byrd. It was great. It really was great speaking with him, and the way he believes in himself for the comeback, I think I am pretty convinced. I must admit, I am excited. I will be tuned in to see what 50-year-old Chris Byrd can bring on his comeback to the ring at middleweight. It is incredible. But if anyone can do it, he can. But that's about everything from myself. A huge thank you to all of you for listening once again. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a long show. I hope you've enjoyed the in-depth part of the interview. Try to enjoy your weekends, people, if you can. Remember to stay safe, spread positivity, and we shall see you all again next week.